Welcome to Innovate, presents Entrepreneurs in Tech. Today, we're delighted to have our guest, Dr. Hadas Ziso, who is the founder and CEO of EndoCure. Dr. Hadas, a pleasure to have you on the show. And if you don't mind, give us a small introduction about yourself and a bit of insight about your background and expertise before we really dive into it and talk about your innovation, your latest innovations, and all of that.
Sure, thank you, Bob. Very happy to be here and thank you for this opportunity.
My
So, where
pleasure.
do you want me to start? Early childhood or later
You know
on?
what? Let's start. What got you really, how should I say, interested and get involved in becoming a biomedical engineer and
Mhm,
technology in medical? There's
mhm.
you're on the other side of the medicine, not medicine, but it's an important
Right,
factor in medicine, technology.
right. So, yeah, when I was a child, I actually wanted to be a veterinarian. I loved animals, always brought the poor animals into the house. My mother was crazy for me, but I insisted. And as I grew older, yeah, I realized that engineering, science is more for me, is more right to my skills. My father is an engineer, so I guess he inherited that to me. And at high school, I took more science, physics, chemistry, computer, and mathematics. So these were my strengths. And as I started to look for the first degree, I have considered medicine, but I knew I don't want to be a physician. I knew I want to do some medical research. And then I received a brochure from the Technion, it's the Technical Institute of Israel. And they just opened the first cohort of biomedical engineering. So they sent a few people brochure home, and nobody knew about it. And I looked into that and said, "That's the thing. That's what I want to do." And that's how I got started. So
Amazing, really amazing. And what got you? I mean, your work was involved in ultrasound surgery and prosthetics. What is some of the key lessons, or what really kind of enhance your experience in these fields?
well, it's not just one thing. I gathered 20 years of experience in the medical device industry, together with 4 degrees. So I love to learn both in the academy and in the industry. I think I learned from everything I did, and just accumulate the knowledge. I've been in two people's startups and in 120 people. That was the largest, actually. I'm not a corporate type of person. I like things to go fast. And I just was learning all there is to know about medical device, all that is involved with regulatory, reimbursement, the quite difficult processes comparing to other industries. But it was very important for me from day one to stay in this narrative, to stay in this field of medical device and impact people's lives.
Dr. Hadas, as you know, the world is advancing and there's a race for AI and robotics and all of that. Now,
Mhm.
how does that really affect? And I know it's probably will be a long conversation at least on this question.
Mhm.
And how does that affecting? And I know medicine depends on research. Creating medicine that really could save and help people's lives
Mhm.
and cure diseases. And also, technology is very important. And how important and effective it is right now with AI being in the forefront and
Yeah.
robotics also. Would
Yeah.
we
So
see in the near future
yeah.
robots doing surgeries? Sorry.
Yes, yes. Let's separate the two because I think
Yes.
they both deserve
Yeah.
an answer. So
Yeah.
I love robotics. I started dealing with that in my PhD, where I developed a robot for minimal invasive neurosurgery and commercialized that to a company. And I think that some people are scared when they hear both robotics and AI. And
Hmm.
I think you should look at this as a tool, because eventually we, the people, right, the engineers build the robots, and they program that to do tasks. And of course, in the medical field, safety is super important, and we cannot have FDA clearance without checking that everything works safely. So I hope people will start looking at this as a tool, and be less scared of it, as they are starting to bring robots home, like the vacuum cleaner robots and
Yes. Yeah.
other robots, and just realize that eventually the robot is just, I wouldn't say stupid, but is doing what we ask them to do.
Or what
So,
we train them to do.
or what we train them exactly. So they can do. Let's take for example the famous Da Vinci robot. They can do complicated tasks that and reach to locations that the human hand cannot. So you get extra value out of after using a robotic system. And in our case, we are actually in the diagnostic field. We'll talk about it later on more. But it also gives capabilities that the human hand cannot achieve. And that's the beauty of robotics. And I think the other thing is that what I love about robotics is that it's like Lego. You take existing building blocks. People often ask me, what is the innovation in robotics? And the beauty is that you take existing things. You don't invent the computer, you don't invent the motors, you don't invent the encoders, all the other components. But when you put them all together, something new and innovative comes up. And it's usually also, of course, associated with the software or the brain of the robotic system that is doing the task. So I hope I gave the answer regarding robotics.
No, it's pretty interesting because you know you said something really, I would say, on point. You said, robotics and all of that, they will never replace the human doctors, but they will assist and help and advance in certain surgeries, certain operations that doctors will have difficulties doing because of the precision of reaching certain places in the human body that the human hand cannot reach and cannot be that precise and in precision and whatever it is to take out, to cut, to sew, whatever it is in the human or implement, if you know what I mean.
Yes,
And
yes,
yes,
exactly. I mean, I think the physician will still be involved for many, many, many years.
great.
You can think about the automatic plane, right? There is an automatic mode, but still the pilot is there, is responsible. He can put
Yes,
an automatic mode when everything is okay with the flight, but is still responsible. So I think it will be that way with medical robots for a while, at least some decades, and until we make the science fiction movies a reality. It will take time.
the instinct. The human have instinct.
Yes,
That robots and and
right.
AI robotics don't have that instinct. Yes.
That's true.
Um, yes, yes, really interesting. Now, also, you're a founder. Let's talk about your latest venture as a CEO and founder of your company. And, obviously, your knowledge, it takes both tech expertise and business. And how did you, I'm sure you came across a
Mhm.
lot of challenges where you start to say, hey, now I need a business hat. First, I've been wearing my what I love and what I'm passionate about. But now I have to switch hats. I have
Right.
to have both of them available. I need also my business hat. And how did you combine both? And what difficulties you had? And what motivated you to start your own?
Yeah. So, a few questions hide in that one. I just filled out a questionnaire today. What makes a good entrepreneur, in my opinion? And my answer was, first you have to have the motivation, the capabilities, and the resilience.
Yes.
And I think that all other things are, achievable in one way or another. So when I got started, I felt that in my master degree, it was already some kind of entrepreneurship. My professor was new in the faculty, had no equipment, no funding. I just got an empty desk and good luck blessing, and set it all up, including fundraising from the cancer associations, and build up a system and did preclinical studies with that. So when I got out to the market, I wasn't scared of this word. In some level, I knew what to do. Um, Also, being a very independent, I love it when I have the freedom to do what I think is right. So that's also an important skill for an entrepreneur. And you asked how I got to this one. You remind me? Yeah. Okay.
Well, what motivated you to go on your own? I
Oh,
mean,
to shift from, yeah, from also
yes.
from R&D, right? So yeah, I was in R&D for many years. I was the head of R&D in the first company that I founded, and one thing that I love is to evolve. I love new challenges. Um, I wanted to look at a more wide perspective on things and not just from the niche of R&D, and that's also why I studied my MBA to prepare myself for this change. Um, and yeah, after the first startup, I felt I'm ready to take my next step to become a CEO.
Mhm.
Um, and just jumped into the water, but not alone. That's very important to say, because I think that being able and open to hear other people, to listen to experts' advice. I have a partner who is in his 70s, and we make a great team. And I really appreciate his experience, and I'm just ready to listen and to implement. For sure, I don't believe that I know everything. So that's also a key point in this journey.
What's the main goal, or what are you looking to change with EndoCure as far as
Mhm.
in the medical industry, going forward? Like, what was the ultimate goal? The reason why, really, Bob, I started EndoCure to change, to make that type of impact or that type of change that we need, and I saw a gap there, and I wanted to, and that's the change I want to try to help.
Yeah, so I have started from a single gap and then realized it can also fill many more. And sometimes it happens. Um, so I started the journey out of my passion to do something for women in women's health. Being a woman, I was aware of the gap, even as a healthy one, knocking wood.
Knock on
uh,
wood.
yeah, whenever I needed healthcare services, I felt it could be simpler, less painful, more comfortable, even for a simple procedure. And I just decided I want to do something. And knowing myself that I'm very dedicated to my career, I decided the best way is to do it through that channel. So I started to explore unmet needs in women's health. Started reading about endometriosis. That is a very difficult women's health condition where they suffer in average of up to 11 years from pain and
Wow.
infertility before they are diagnosed. Yes, there are they are here around us. The numbers are 1 out of 10 in reproductive age women, accumulating to 7 million patients in the U.S., 200 million in the world. But still, this condition is not does not receive the recognition it deserves. The awareness is very low, even for the patient themselves, until they
Hmm.
realize something wrong. For healthcare professionals, for yeah, everybody, like I wish for those patients that it will be um, at least known as diabetics, because the prevalence is quite similar.
Mm.
So I realized there's a big problem, a medical problem with real unmet needs, together with a business opportunity. And this was important for me to select a market that I can really make a difference there. And sometimes people choose some things for other reasons, could be personal reasons or personal knowledge, but they don't check that the market is large enough, and then
Hmm.
they do all the hard work, and they might have to close the company. So
Mm.
it was important for me to validate all of that. And yeah, the first thing I did was to talk to physicians, over 30 physicians in the first year prior to company registration, and just ask them, would you use our solution if it was available? And the feedback was very positive, and that's how I moved on.
Amazing. And how far are you from, coming out with the first solution, EndoCure, that will present to the medical industry?
Yeah, maybe you start with describing that. So our solution is a robotic ultrasound system, AI powered system, that actually transform the ultrasound that is very operator dependent, manual, as you know
Mm,
today, to high resolution 3D automated imaging tool. In a similar way that X-ray has been transformed into CT, it's something that is more familiar. Actually, CT is also a robot, but all is rotating and moving inside, so we are not aware of that. So for whoever who was scared of robots till today, think about the city. So that's what we do, and we produce data in very, very high resolution, 10 times higher than MRI. And this means we
wow.
have
10
we
times
have
higher than
the,
MRI.
yeah, it's quite a lot. We have MRI and also CDR images is a sequence of images that are actually
Hmm.
slicing the body frame by frame. And we have a frame every 100 micron, comparing to 1 millimeter of MRI. That is what I mean by high resolution. And with that, we can detect very, very small targets, like 1 millimeter endometriosis lesions. And why is that important specifically for this condition? Because most of the lesions that cause this condition are small and invisible in any imaging modality that exists today. So patients come to the physicians and being dismissed because there's no observation in the imaging tools, and being told, unfortunately, it's very sad to hear that, but they are being told it's in your head, sometimes prescribed with psychiatric drugs. Yes,
Damn.
they are going through very, very difficult times until they have confirmation for this condition. And the only way to do that today in the US is by laparoscopic surgery. That is, of course, an invasive, very complicated procedure.
I know you pretty much give a pretty steep explanation and detailed on your solution, which is I'm pretty very much intrigued in it. Tell us more about also the AI part of it.
So, in general, what I see as the role of AI in medical imaging is to reduce the level of expertise that is required. And we do that in two levels. One is during the acquisition of the data itself. We use AI to decide which areas are more interesting and need higher resolution, and which areas are less interesting and can be skipped or go through fast. We can detect artifacts of ultrasound in real time, alert the operator, and similar things like that. And with that, we actually reduce the expertise level of the sonographer that is operating the ultrasound and using our system. And the second part is AI powered software that would flag the lesions or tumors in the results in this DICOM series of images. If you recall, I said the lesions are very, very small. We can detect 1 millimeter dimensions of targets. And then to ask the physician to find them is like looking for a needle in a haystack, or just a very small thing in a lot of data. So the AI would flag the lesions or tumors, of course, according to the application, and this would be a decision supporting tool. The physician can, based on that, plan the treatment, the best tailored treatment for the patient, pre-plan the surgery, and perform routine follow-ups and compare the results of before and after surgery. So that's the second part where AI reduced the hurdles in interpretation of the data. Yeah.
So with your solution, um, you're not just helping, you're also detecting. You could detect certain things at an early stage that doctors not used to seeing and finding about it, and which will
Exactly.
help curing and save people's lives.
Exactly. So today, the existing modalities that we know, MRI, CT or
Correct.
PET-CT, can detect, usually they detect tumors starting from 1 centimeter in the dimension and higher.
Yeah.
That's the practice today. Even though that the technical capabilities are higher, they don't do that because it's time consuming. So 1 centimeter is more or less the standard. And for endometriosis, it's very important as I explained, but not only for that condition, but also for cancer. That is the more familiar one, of course, where we all understand the significance of early detection and monitoring after treatment for, for allowing timely intervention in the case of recurrence. And actually, I love to compare the two conditions, cancer and endometriosis, because they are very similar in the behavior of, or in the way that I see how those conditions should be managed. And the main difference is the consequence. From cancer, of course, we know you can die, but from endometriosis, you suffer from pain and infertility throughout the best years of your life. So
Mm.
I think that's the reason I think it deserves the same disease management like cancer.
What a groundbreaking innovation, Dr. Hadas.
Thank you.
How far are you from completing this revolutionary or revolutionizing solution technology?
Yeah, so if I may say, we started the company on November 23, just a month after October 7th. You know, we all know what happened here in Israel. Still
Mm-hmm.
going, unfortunately. And with, you know, many thoughts running in the head. Is this a good time to start something? You know, where would the funding come from? And all of those questions that also, you know, difficult in usual times and especially in a wartime that we had here. Um, and after looking, you know, deep into my passion, I decided that I'm going for that no matter what because that's my way to bring back something good to the world.
Yes.
And so it was. My amazing team joined me a little bit afterwards, and within a year, they they brought the solution from ID to working prototype ready for clinical studies that we're about to begin next week. So we are very excited, and yeah, very proud of my team's achievements. Yeah, I think they got the same, you know, swift with my passion also during those difficult times that, you know, we feel we must succeed with that no matter what. So thank
Yes.
you.
Well, that's the right side of an entrepreneurial mind. Dr. Hadas, if you don't mind me asking, how much did you, if you don't mind sharing this, you don't have to, how much did you manage to raise from the beginning up to now?
Of course, only if you allow me to talk also about the next round.
Yes, absolutely. That's what we're here for, to talk the previous round and the future rounds. Yes,
Right.
absolutely. We're here
Yeah.
to help you. Yes,
Thank you.
to
Thank
bring
you.
in more eyes on your product, on EndoCore and Dr. Hadas, and your amazing innovation, actually.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. So we've fundraised $2 million till today.
Knock on
Most of
wood.
it,
Amazing.
thank you. Most of it non-dilutive from the Israel Innovation Authority. We've won a special Women Founders Grant, so there are some good reasons to be a woman, unlike endometriosis.
I see
Um,
that.
and we have now opened the seed round where we are looking for $2 million. And
Another
we,
2 million.
yes, another 2 million in order to complete our 120 patients IRB approved clinical study and to file for FDA clearance. There are preparations that have to be done for that, and this is the purpose for the funds. And we decided to do that in two steps. The first one is a safe note with preferred terms for fast deciding investors. And in 2 months, once we have enough clinical evidence from our study, then we would have a price round.
Interesting. Interesting. And, Coming up, do you come across a lot of obstacle of regulation because it's all the clinical industry is regulated, and there's a lot of
Right.
regulatory, for clinical usage of this and that and medical. Is this a big hurdle for you to kind of try to overcome, or it was pretty smooth on your end?
In this case, pretty smooth. The previous companies where I worked on therapeutic devices, this is a little bit more difficult. You
Hmm.
need to have usually a large clinical study, and of course to prove safety. This one is much simpler because we seamlessly integrate to an off-the-shelf ultrasound machine that is already FDA cleared, already in the market, and that's the only thing that touches the patient. So what we need to show that we do not compromise image quality once we stream the data from the existing ultrasound machine, and we can do that quite easily, and we know we are eligible for 510K fast track. So this one is quite straightforward in our case. Of course, it's not always the case, but for us, this is it, and we expect to have the clearance in about a year after we close the funding.
Hmm. The seed round that you're looking for $2 million. Now, obviously, there's no evaluation yet. What do you think the company will you evaluate it at once you do your third round after the seed round?
That's a tough question. It also depends on what's, it's like a marketplace, yes. So it depends on other startups around me. This year had a negative effect, but I do hope that future will bring better news and higher valuations, similar to startups in the US. That's my hope.
Yes. Well,
So we'll
you
see.
raised 2 million from the government
Yes,
and two
mostly from
million,
the government.
yes,
Yes.
mostly from the government, and 2 million that you hope to raise now in the seed funding from
Mhm.
real investors, not governmental. So this way
Yes.
you'll add more value to the product and to the company's stock.
Yes, and if I may add, we were also invested by Teuza VC fund with a small amount, so they did due diligence on us and covered all those aspects. So it's also good for angel investors. They have the due diligence ready and welcome to join.
Hmm. Dr. Hadas, as an entrepreneur, a woman entrepreneur, and a doctor, any advice for other female entrepreneurs
Mm,
from Israel and all around the world that
mm.
who want to follow your footsteps, going to be inspired by your story, by your inspiration? They say it's never a good time to start, but it's always a good time to start. And
Yeah.
so you went with your gut feeling and your passion, and you say, "What? I'm going to go for it." And somehow you managed to come on top to attract the right team around you to rally you, and you got $2 million, or let's say almost 2 million, and some other investors. But the most of it came from the government that to believe in your product and believe in what you're doing and your vision, obviously.
Yeah, wow, I can tell a lot to other women, but I think I'll first approach the parents to encourage their daughters to learn, everything that is on the table. Not necessarily, they usually select the more soft skills in school, but don't be afraid of science. Robotics is amazing. In Israel, we have a few programs in schools. I'm sure you have them as well, and kids really love that. Encourage them to learn mathematics. It's very important too. After we
Yes.
cross that bridge, then engineering is more straightforward. And yeah, that's I think the gap starts there. But also after school, when women look for the higher degrees, they usually select the software skills, medicine, laws, and things like that. And I just think don't be afraid. Don't think of the stigma that mechanical engineering is for men with degrees on the hand. It's totally not the case. Um, so I really love engineering. I think it's very creative. It's eventually you invent things, you build things from nothing, and that's the amazing thing about engineering. So I think it's I'm sure it's a good fit for women as well, with the imagination, creativity, and so on. I think they're just maybe a little bit afraid to step into those fields. Now, of course, you can be an entrepreneur from you can reach to that from different professions. I think for me, starting a startup, it's best to have some kind of technical background to understand you know what to do, because otherwise it's very difficult. You usually start
Yes.
as a two people team, and
Yes.
so you are either the business, you either bring the business skills or the technical skills. That's how it usually goes. Um, but I think the thing that I can share with other women is that just believe in yourself, do whatever you want to do. Don't be afraid. I mean, okay, even if you start a startup and you
Hmm.
will not succeed to fundraise, okay, so go ahead and start the next one. Don't stop, uh,
Yes.
and just believe in yourself. I think that women tend to underestimate themselves a little bit. So yeah, that's
Dr.
my
Hadas,
advice. Yeah.
yes, great advice. Thank you. Appreciate it. Dr. Hadas, the FemTech industry is evolving in a very high rapid speed. I come across so many innovative, amazing women with so much accolades and so much achievement and so much energy and visionary and all of that. Where do you see the biggest opportunities for innovation in the next 5 years?
Hmm. Well, others already marked this as a $1 trillion market. The McKinsey report mentioned that. I think there's still a road to go, especially in funding. Investors sometimes still just I don't know, dismiss this field maybe from being unaware of what the potentials of it, or they go to the familiar, and it's usually cancer, cardio, those kind of things, and I think that if they would dare to go to this relatively new field, they eventually they will profit, and of course all of us will profit as well. But it's a process. It's yeah, related to awareness of what's behind that, and I think once the funding will come, both from governments, by the way, grants, and investors, I think we'll see, like you say, we'll see femtech as common as we see AI or something like that. Yeah, there are so many opportunities to make a change in women's health.
Dr. Hadas, what keeps you motivated?
Well, throughout the last 2 years, I spoke with many patients, and of course with all physicians and other stakeholders. But when I talk to patients and hear their story, specifically with the case of endometriosis, that they are unbelieved, being dismissed, sometimes by the close family, I can share a very creepy story of a patient that the people didn't believe her until she doubted herself and thought to herself, maybe my perception of pain is wrong, and she just had to cut herself to see whether she's right or not. Yeah, I mean, it's that crazy, and
Wow.
I just couldn't stay indifferent to those testimonies. And really, each story, each patient's story is just worse than the other, and repetitive, again and again. So I just I remember that in my tough days, and remember that I'm doing this for them. That's one of the things that keeps me motivated. The other thing is, like I mentioned, what's going on here in Israel, and part of my, I really love our country, and it's important for me to succeed also as, some kind of ambassador of Israel, you know. in that aspect. And yeah, I also love to success. I mean, I guess all of us, but yeah, so victories are very important, I think, yes.
Absolutely. Always, victory is very important. Well,
Yeah,
Dr. Hadas, I just want to thank you for joining us today, taking the time. I know it's almost evening in Israel right now.
yes.
And yes, it was a pleasure having you on Innovate Presents Entrepreneurs in Tech. And be sure to connect with us on social media. Till next time, keep innovating, stay curious, and always think out of the box. And as Dr. Hadas said, it's never the right time to start. It's always the right time to start. Take
Exactly.
care and thank you.
If you enjoyed today's episode, make sure to share Innovate Presents Entrepreneurs in Tech podcast. And if you're joining us on YouTube, please like this video and subscribe to the channel. Until next time.